Good morning, guys. I'm going to today display some of my transportation equipment, my models, and it's specifically designed for the transportation gurus of Montreal, like Elton and Simon and Ben. And so they have a collection of transportation buses, trains, and this is just a part of my collection. But for example, I have here. Well, one of the original New York City buses, that the Fifth Avenue line, which you can see here. It's a beautiful piece. It's all metal. This is the Corky series, right? And it's in. These are all in mint condition on display in my living room. I have another New York City over the road type of bus. This one here, which is the over the road kind of. These are all buses that are currently in operation. This is the express service that runs. It's an MCI that actually runs all through New York City to the boroughs, to the outer boroughs, and you take it as an express bus. I have a typical similar MCI, which is a Greyhound. This is the typical, well, let's see if I get this right here, model Greyhound bus, which has a nice little unique little package here. Again, all metal bus. This is one of the original. Those were MCIs, and of course this one here was an original GMC, Detroit diesel. And this here is the Orion bus. This is Orion, right? And this runs in Queens in New York, right? And most of Staten Island used to run these Orions. Of course, they made way for the, obviously, as Elton would say, the scrap, the low floor buses, right? Here's an old Broadway bus with the original signage. This ran in Bayonne, in my hometown. I took this to school and things like that. It's an old Broadway bus. It's General Motors, right? I think a 4502 or something like that. Has the original signs on it at the time, which was an election going on. And now let's see what it says here. Vote Roe Fitzpatrick for mayor all the way. The other one was the Charcoal Treat, which was a hamburger place just before the McDonald's and Burger King hit the New Jersey and the eastern seaboard. And that's an old Broadway bus, and then traveled along Broadway in Bayonne. I showed you this is a public service. Public service electric and gas company, of course, ran the original trolley lines in New Jersey. And as a result, after the trolley lines were disappeared when Firestone and Goodyear, together with Roosevelt, I guess it was, did away with all the trolley cars, right, in 1947. And so they came out with they ran the buses. So this is a public service bus run by Public Service Electric and Gas. This is one of the original 1958 buses. And this is a General Motors diesel, as you can see as well. Get that a better shot there. Okay. And again, that's one of the Corky series. These things are pretty valued up around $200 and $300 US right now. I showed you that one there. Then, of course, my train on the old trolleys. This was the old PCC trolleys, the presidential trolleys, and that's an old public service type trolley that ran up until about maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago in Newark. They ran these trolleys before the light rail came about. And of course, that's, like I say, a presidential car. They call them the presidential trolleys, and that's what that is there. Of course, then I have here the old Redbirds, which is a New York City Transit train. These came out originally for the World's Fair, and they were painted in silver and black. And it was, no, it might have been a green and silver kind of color, specifically made. I'm saying green, kind of a greenish blue like, and it was made for the World's Fair back in 1964. So that's when they first came out. Then they painted them all red, and these Redbirds ran up until about 2007, I guess, and they ran on the line that went into Queens, the elevator line, and of course they sank these and used them at the bottom of the for maritime purposes, for fish and things like that, at the bottom of the ocean. They're using them as reefs, as rather than discard them and break them all up or use the steel. This is an original New York City subway train. Also, the PATH train used to look somewhat like this. This is quite a thing here, and this dates back all the way to 1930, and right through to. I rode on these as a child. These ran right up until the early '60s, yeah, late '50s. Before, of course, they were replaced by this series here. This is the later ones that came out after that, right? And then there's the old. These are HO gauge trains here. Guys, you guys up in what do you call it? This is VIA. I think this is a VIA train. Yes, it is. Right. This is VIA. Right. That runs up in Canada. Right. That's on the electric line. Okay. So that's an HO gauge series train. Pennsylvania Railroad had, which is now all of it's now transported to New Jersey, obviously, but these were the old MU cars that ran across. That's my friend actually driving it, but that's a picture of him inside there and his daughter out on the side there. But that's a PC train. Of course, I have a Markland engine. That's a Swiss train, a Swiss engine, and that actually operates off a catenary. If you run the catenaries at home in a model train set system, this actually will operate either two ways, or through the pickup rail in the center here, or through these actual wheels, the wheels themselves, and the catenary is the other side of the DC line. It's a DC transformer. This is an original, before they got the engines that operate the push-pulls. This was an original Amtrak train, which was kind of a MU type situation, ran on the catenary. Okay. I think this too is a European, similar, yes, this is a European type car, which is similar to the Canadian VIA and so forth. Again, this is a self-propelled engine, which is built into it itself, I believe. We have also a PATH train. This is one of the PATH train cars that what they call the PA cars, right? For the subway system runs in New York into New Jersey. I mean, that's about it that I have. You know what? Stay right where you are. This is one of my latest versions. This one right here, okay? This is a New York City, okay, crosstown bus, and it's an articulated one, right? And this is made by Flyer. This is a Canadian company makes this Flyer, and that's got the air conditioning and stuff like that. And that's a low floor bus. That would be your typical low floor bus. This may not be considered scrap the way Elton and Simon may consider the Canadian version of this, because I think the original series of those low floor buses weren't too bad. I think they accept them. I think the problem was when they came out with their second generation, which they declare as scrap. Traveling Montreal, I realized that obviously the old classics you just couldn't beat. They ran in snow, rain, and all kinds of weather, and they were decent vehicles at the time. So I don't blame them calling them scrap, believe it or not. Oh yes, I think I didn't show you this public service bus, and of course this one here. This is this came out in about 1970. No, 1960. This came out in 1960. Became transported in New Jersey, but this is the original public service bus. And this would be with no air conditioning, of course, in the back. and this would be considered the what they call the fish bowls, right? And if you notice that the original fish bowls, when they first came out, I think the first year only, not the first 2 years, they had square lights at the top. These were square, and they weren't rounded. Apparently they were breaking or getting damaged in the car wash and things like that. But these were actually squared off, and if you notice them in some of your earlier buses, they actually have them. The others were rounded off, similar to the round on the old-fashioned type buses like this one here, which has the marker lights on this. Is obviously, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of rounded, you know. And that's the bus collection, train collection. Just some of there's about 2 times more of that around. But these are the little trinkets I like. So I figured I'd put that out there for you guys in Canada. Well, Steve Galecki signing off. I hope you enjoyed that. Talk to you soon.